Greetings, everybody. This is another delightful video from me to you through the power of the internet, and this is via the YouTube video sharing platform. And this time, I'm going to cover the first edition of the starter set. Okay, first edition starter set for Wrath and Glory, a Warhammer 40,000 role-playing game. We're already on to second edition. They started releasing a lot of the basic books at the very beginning of second edition for Wrath and Glory, so I kind of had to catch up on this one. If you really want to, you can order this online off of Amazon. I should have the link to it for Amazon if I can find it again. This comes with adventure book with guidance for beginning players and game masters, beginner's rule book with everything you need to get it started, 6 pre-generated characters, each with a deluxe character sheet and background summary, 10 game dice, 2 double-sided battle maps, and acrylic tokens to represent the characters, enemies, and other beings for the adventure. This was produced by Ulysses Spiegel of North America, which oftentimes does a lot of work with Paizo and a few other companies. Ulysses Spiegel has their own TTRPGs. They are a German company, if I remember correctly. So, I'm not going to try to speak German because I only know basics of German. It has that standard, it's a flip top kind. They have that standard waster cardboard in there that just happens to give you enough space to have dice in there. I would have really liked it if the box was just a little narrower so it wasn't wasting so much cardboard and paper. I work in the metals recycling industry, and cardboard gets thrown into the garbage all the time. You happen to have nice tokens for various creatures and characters. They're all they have all different size variations. So some larger creatures are larger tokens than the small ones, just like Dungeons and Dragons in Pawns. This is a D6 system. The dice look custom. They are custom art dice. However, they are not custom system dice. The only catch on that is if you can look closely enough, you can see that there is numbers inside the skulls and 1 red die in there. So it goes 1 to 6. There's no special symbols. It is, however, just numbers and skulls. That's always appreciated. I always like that. They are special dice only in the sense that they have custom artwork on them and nothing else. Other systems that have customized dice oftentimes will have special symbols that replace numbers. That is annoying, as that creates an impedance to the players and the game masters to learning the system, as you have to now learn a symbol instead of a number, and you have to go out and buy new dice for that system. And sometimes these systems will have workaround rules like a star equals 6 in the back of the book and stuff like that. That is annoying because you write the whole entire book using the symbols, and then people have to go to an index in the back of the book to find in the conversions. And that adds a step in learning. It's almost worse that you have the conversions. So, we have Beginner's Rulebook. This is a very simple, straight to the point, saddle staple book. There's only 2 staples, which is standard. You will rarely ever find a saddle staple book with more than 2 staples. However, at various points in time, I have come across books that have 3 staples in them. Not with this one, of course. This is a 2 staple saddle staple. 2 staple seems to be the standard. The table of contents is very minimalistic. It just has the basic chapters and the little sections within those chapters. Perfectly fine and all, but they still have all this extra space right here. And maybe increasing the font of the chapters a bit more and making them a bit bigger would be better off than having this dead space right here. Even if they increase the text by 10% in size would make it way easier for people to read. You have the basic explanation of it's the 41st millennium. You have a nice little comic here, comparing all the various players and their characters together. Going through, just a nice little example of play here. I do heavily approve of blending a example of play with a comic, as it is very conducive to gaining depth of understanding in the system. As some people are visual learners, they do better with pictures and symbols in front of them as opposed to walls of text. However, there's still text to explain, hey, this is what's going on in the comic. And they do a very nice job of like explaining the dice down here and so forth, the rolls going on, the basic structure of turns and stuff like that. They have here in how to play section, they have the core rules explaining what a D6, D3, D66 roll, and so forth. Glossary of various other terms that you need to know to play the system. Characters, their attributes, basic setup similar to very much like Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, where you have strength, agility, toughness, intellect, willpower, fellowship, and initiative. Basically all the major ones plus initiative there. You got various traits, combat, and so forth, such as soak, resilience, and so forth. It's all very nicely written out. There's a nice little list of traits up here with numbers relating to them, as well as skill names and what it's associated by attribute. So if you have the basic understanding of like a typical TTRPG system like Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, you can very much understand what we are going with right here. Except instead of a D20 system, it's a D6 system, where you roll multiple dice is to get results, which is very much in line with Warhammer, the tabletop war game. As you are rolling buckets of dice on the table and getting sixes and fives is good and getting ones is bad. If you're an orc player and you roll a ton of dice and you get a bunch of ones and twos, you're oh. But anyways, that's why you play in the orcs. You want to grab like 50 dice and throw them at a table and watch the chaos. But here you go. You got a test flowchart of dice rolling and stuff like that. The artwork is very nice. It doesn't take very long to come across each different piece of artwork. Warhammer is top notch in the artwork department in the grimdark future, or even in the fantasy settings, like Warhammer Fantasy or Soul. I'm having a brain fart for 5 seconds. Age of Sigmar. The artwork is also very good in those systems for those as well. So there you go. As I said, you could see that there is a piece of artwork coming almost every other page. There's an exception right here where there's a lot of text and more text. This is more specifically the combat section and so forth, and it explains it out, as you can see. I kind of noticed that as we go along in the book, it gets fewer and fewer pieces of art, and it gets more spread out overall. We get to the weapons sections, and we got a nice section on weaponry. Nice table. I do love tables for weapons, as opposed to large boxes of text. It's a lot easier to find the important information for weapons when they're in a table format as opposed to a box format in a blob of text. We will see how it turns out in future in the second edition Warhammer Ages, second edition Wrath and Glory beginner's box in the future. We have the character sheets. We actually have a really nice collection of characters here. We got a battle sister. All the girls are going to want to play her. And the weeboo guy, you got a commissioner, or a commissar actually. You got an Inquisitor Acolyte, Imperial Guardsman. Oh yes, the bullet sponge. A priest. And a Space Marine. Everyone probably wants to play the Battle Sister and the Space Marine. On the back sides of each one of these, they have the overview of the characters, history, and important details about them. On the inside, you have the deluxe character sheet with all the core stats skills right here, the stat attributes up here, combat traits right here, mental traits, social traits, and weapons they have, as well as various keywords and mechanics for the character in their little background and extra information. So it is very similar to Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition without being dead on. There is some sub-categorization like mental traits, social traits. It's in combat traits right here. You have all your essential information for running your character. And a quick little bit of on the character traits and other stuff. There's a nice selection here. I do like the fact that it's a total of 6 characters. 1, 2, 3. I had to confirm that there's 6 characters. 4, 5, 6. As that allows for, if you're playing one character, you have a group of 4 people, and you're playing one character, and character happens to die in the adventure, the game master can just simply grab another character sheet and hand it to you. It's always nice to have more character sheets than characters and character sheets than you think you need for an adventure. This is the adventure right itself, the Escape the Rook. And overall, it's a nice little, yet again, another really minimalist table of contents, basic information. They have these little GM guidance boxes right here that help out quite a bit, reading through it. There's minimal artwork. There's not very much in the way of maps in the adventure. Sometimes when you'll get like a stylized map like that, and so forth. But other than that, that's pretty much it. You got some creatures in the back, some orcs for your party to squash. You have the actual maps for the adventure. These premium battle maps. By the way, they are very nice. With this box set, you have this nice big battle mat for your big battles. However, a nice bonus is that they give you a generic battle mat on the backside that's all gray or square. So if you are playing in your own homebrew adventures, you can simply pull this out and set it down on the table and set out all your tokens. No worries, no fuss. That's always nice when they include stuff like that. Is just a generic monotone, all green or all brown or all gray battle mats for just any situation that you might decide as a game master to stick your players into. There's that generic one there. You got inside of a ship or your base, and then you have the other one on the other side. So you have 1 generic and 3 adventure specific maps, which is just awesome. Overall, if it wasn't for the fact that this is a flip top box, I do really like this set. It comes with you with a really nice book that is well written for learning how to play the system. You have 6 characters you can choose from. That is awesome, as it gives a typical play group is typically around 4 to 5 people. So you always have you have a spare character or a character that if no one wants to play them, you can have another option. You have the adventure that comes with it. It's basic, but it's good. You have some battle mats for your characters to play through. There's 3 of them pertaining to the adventure themselves. However, there's also on the one flip side a generic all gray battle mat, which is great for homebrew adventures. it comes with standard D6 dice with custom art on it, and a ton of tokens for your characters and the enemies in the adventure. These are acrylic tokens. These are really nice overall. Actually, we'll pull one of these out. The only thing I do not like about this set, truly don't like, I wish there was, is that I wish it was not a flip top up like that. And I wish there was a Game Master screen. And yet my standard rant about Game Master screens, you know, if you look at it, it actually is, you can actually see through it because it's not cardboard, it's actually plastic. See? So that's kind of cool. That means these will last a really long time unless someone breaks them. Like puts them on something and then accidentally applies pressure to them and snaps them. That's awesome. Being that they are made of acrylic, you can actually spill liquids on them, and they won't get soggy and come apart. So that's awesome. These will last you decades if you take care of them, or even if you don't really. So I personally feel that this starter set is actually pretty much in that 4-star territory. It would go higher in a score if it had a Game Master screen in it that had all your basic rules for the game system. That way you didn't have to constantly reference the Game Master section in the books as you're playing. But other than that, this is actually a rather nice set. They could have made it a little bit smaller, and they could have made the box smaller, and they could have put a Game Master screen in there, a cheap one that's just all construction cardboard or something like that, or construction paper, and that would have been perfectly awesome. But other than that, it's a really nice system, really nice set overall. They have moved on to 2nd edition. This is the 1st edition. The easiest way to tell the difference between 2nd edition Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay and 1st edition is in the 1st edition, if you look up here, that's the Warhammer 40,000 Roleplay. This banner right here for 1st edition and 2nd edition changes colors. The 1st edition is black banner, says for the roleplay section, and the 1st edition is black banner, as you can see, and then the 2nd edition is a red banner instead of a black one. Brain fart right there, repeated. I'll repeat myself again. 1st edition Warhammer Role-Playing Wrath and Glory will have a black banner or a black box in the around the role play, and the 2nd edition will have a red one. So there you go. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel. As of this video, I made it to 510 subscribers. I took Sassy on a puppy walk through Lake Geneva late one night. I probably should have did it during the day, but I was super busy with doing a bunch of other stuff. I probably will do it again during the day soon in the future. Not this weekend because Splatoon's final Splatfest is going on, and I have a D&D game you might have to play on Saturday. So I'm busy then. But I'll probably do it in a following week or following weeks after that, a rewalk of Lake Geneva with Sassy during the day. So there you go. I hope you have a delightful day, a nice night, a wonderful weekend, a magnificent month, and see you next time. Ciao.